Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I will be talking about Altus Clear. It's a banking slash technology company. They've been getting a bad rap, but after investigating this company, I see it as a potential winner over the next 12 months. And kind of like Telray, I saw Telray as it had a lot of upside potential and it was getting a bad rap because the company did not know how to sell itself. So I moved from Telray over to Altus Clear. And the reason behind it, and I'll explain what I'm looking at here when I see this company. So the underlying, the easiest way for me to explain this, if you have money in Bitcoin, you have money in the stock market, and then you're trying to get that money out of the stock market, out of Bitcoin, and move it into your bank account. It's a very difficult process. And when I look at this company, what they're trying to do is bring these processes together so that you can move money in between these different products in today's world. If you've ever bought Bitcoin, it's very expensive to buy Bitcoin. I'm not talking about the actual price of Bitcoin, but to go through the money exchangers of Bitcoin is very expensive. And that bothers me. If I go to buy a Bitcoin to exchange my dollar over to Bitcoin, it could cost me 10 to 25 cents on the dollar. And then to get my dollar out of Bitcoin, it could cost me another 10 to 25 cents. And that's a very expensive process when buying, coin money or electronic coin money. And this is where I look at it as that there needs to be better regulations. There needs to be easier ways to transition between these different assets so that you can move funds easily with some type of basic regulation. And it's kind of like when I go to Mexico, I realize I have to convert my US dollars into Mexican pesos, but I'm not paying 25 cents, 20 cents on the dollar to the exchanger. It might cost me 10 cents on the dollar, but you have a basic norm there that you know that you're not going to get overcharged on it. And when I see Altus Clear, I see a company that right now is at the beginning stages of bringing this together, and it takes time to get through the financial regulations in order to bring these things together. But everything that they're showing is showing that they are bringing it together. It's taking a little bit of time. And that's okay with me. At the end of the day, I see where they're going. They're doing something that no one else is doing, combining these different vehicles of assets together, which indicates to me if they pull that off, their stock is going to be worth quite a bit of money. Now, they already have certain components in place, and it's not everything. So but they have some components in place. So they're making revenues. They're beating expectations currently, which indicates to me, and looking through AI, doing some research, that a lot of the analysts are not either picking up or are just completely trashing this company. But then again, when you look at their website, it looks like plain Jane from the 90s. This is horrible. They're not keeping up to date with the look and feel of the current time. This was the issue with Telray. Telray's website was horrible. It looked like from the 70s, being a hippie on the beach, and that wasn't a true view of the company. And so you try to tell these companies, hey, you're sending the wrong message. You're sending something old and not current and up to date, and it's not really accurately hitting what you're actually doing. And you need to keep things simple sometimes in order for the average person to understand what you're doing, especially around technology. And when it comes to technology, people like to throw around fancy words and big words. And when I did computer work, I never did big fancy words. I kept it simple, the words that we use day to day. And that's how I explain things to people. I didn't need to sound like I was so educated and so smart. They had an issue, they needed it fixed, and sometimes they needed to understand what they were doing to cause the issue. And if you can't break it down to simplicity for the average person to understand, instead of using big words that people just don't fully understand what they are, throwing them around words doesn't mean that you're smart. And this is the problem when people are creating more words. It's just to make someone look smart, but it doesn't. It's if you can't communicate for someone else to understand it, and then you're going to lose them in the process. And this is where Altus Clear has screwed up. So they haven't properly simplified what they're doing, and they're coming about it from a slightly educated financial manner instead of common sense everyday life. So when I go to the bank and I want to get my money out, I expect to get my money out. And if you can explain it in these fashions that, hey, if you have Bitcoin, or if you're trying to borrow money against your stock positions, then it's a little hard to do, even though that there are vehicles out there, but no one is doing it, and might cost you an arm and a leg because the people are gouging you to get certain assets out, certain vehicles. And this is where, if they did a better job at explaining this for the average person to understand, if I have a couple $1,000 in borrowed money or Bitcoin, and then I want to be able to get that money out easy as if I went to the bank to withdraw my money from a bank account and I have cash immediately, and I don't have to sit there and try to move it over the internet and then sell it off, go through a money changer to get it back into my bank account, which will take days, and then from my bank account, I can pull it back up to dollars. That is just a pain in the ass for anyone who's trying to do that. That's ridiculous. And today, with all of our technology, we can't do better than that when it comes to moving assets. So if you think about some of the stuff, it's like we're still doing barbaric things with technology. And that blows my mind that people haven't figured out ways to streamline it with all this technology. That's the purpose behind technology, is to streamline things and make things simpler and easier. When the technology becomes more complicated and harder for me to use, and then it's no longer working for me, it's working against me. And in certain areas of life with technology, it's working against us, no longer working for us. And this is where I go, hold on, wait a second. Technology is here to facilitate things to move quicker, more seamlessly, and be better for us. And when that's not happening, there's an issue. So let me go into a little bit more of company. Okay, so right now, this company is trading roughly about 50 cents. It'll jump all the way down to 30, up to, let's just go about 60 cents. So I've dumped a lot of money into this one because that's kind of like Telray. You could get it if you bought it a year ago, you would get it down, roughly at around 30 cents, a little bit less. I can't remember exactly. But here's another company in that same boat. It's positioned the same way in their industry. It's underrated. People are overlooking it. They're looking for a quick buck, but if they sit here and really dig into the engine and think about what they're doing, it makes a lot of sense. They've also picked up a new customer, which I can't tell if it's about 400,000 a quarter or 400,000 a month additional revenue coming in. And so if they keep just doing little things that they're doing, this company, even if they don't pull everything off, they're still going to be a profitable company. And what people don't realize is they're spending a lot of money right now to resolve the regulatory issues, but it's a one-time pop that they're spending this type of money. And it'll be just for this year, most likely. And next year, they'll see all the benefits. So they're supposed to be purchasing a bank. It's stuck in regulatory regulations right now. And that's a process. Anyone who has dealt with the government knows it's a frustrating process. But it's going to end up getting done. And within, I believe it's estimated by March of next year, which is not that far away, the bank that they're purchasing up will be completed. And that means that their revenues will probably double. So that's actually a good thing. So when I look at everything, buying this stock now and holding it for the next 12 months, I don't feel unsafe about it. I feel very safe because I'm getting in so cheaply into the company. And with the potential upside, and I think the potential upside on this is somewhere between $5 to $6 in 12 months. And if they get all the components put together, it could be potentially up to $25 to $60 per share in time. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I can pretty much see if they pull certain things off over the next 6 months, that their stock should be trading at anywhere between $5 to $6. And technically, based off of everything right now, it should be trading at least between $1 and $3 from everything that I'm seeing. So it's an undervalued company. People are saying they don't have anything there, but they have revenues coming in, so they have something there. So it's just not a pipe dream. It's something that's real. It's something physical. This is what people do not understand. They're thinking of only today. And if you're only looking at today, you will miss what's coming in the future. So I do a little day trading, but I prefer to buy stocks that are been beaten up and they look like they're trash, but if you do a little bit of digging and kind of clean them off a little bit, and then you can see the upside potential. And if there's upside potential, and all I have to do is buy and hold for a small time frame, and I can make a potential upside return, that's not a bad deal. That means that I don't have to sit there and watch it every minute of the day, stressing myself out. I can buy it, I can hold it, go in, take a look at it once a week, say, okay, it's still there, I'm good to go, and keep moving on. And I like stocks that move in that way, because that means that my life isn't surrounded on watching it every second of the day. So in my wrap up, their stock symbol is ATCH. I'd say take a good look at it. Dig a little bit into the company. The company, the people who are running the company, they do a horrible job at selling what they have. They could do a way better job, and just they focus too much on potential downside and not enough on what they have and how impressive they've been working at accomplishing things. And if they spend more time focusing on the things that they're accomplishing and explaining that to the shareholder, I think their stock would be a lot higher right now. But I think this is a really good company, and I have a lot of stock in this company. I give it a thumbs up to buy and hold. I believe you should be safe, but don't trust anyone's opinion. Do your homework, do your due diligence. That's why it's called investing. If you see what I see, great. If you don't, hey, great. But we each have to do what we think is best for our investment strategy. I'm just sharing my opinion. And if you have an opinion about ATCH stock, feel free to leave a comment. Until next time, I'll see you later. You take care of yourself, and I send my love.